Peace and love, Royal Family. Let's discuss the soul for a minute. You know, a lot of people think that you're born with a soul and that you have a soul, but in reality, you don't really have a real soul. You're born with the soul of the earth, the universe, the same soul animals, plants, and minerals have, but it's not the same soul that you need to ascend to get you to God or to get to a higher vibration. That's because when we're born, the soul that we first have is of the animal world. It's the lower self. It resonates at a very slow vibration. It's really just the basic instincts of human being, the ability to love, take care of yourself, pay your bills, eat, shelter. Your basic automated functions that the body don't need a brain to do. It does it on its own. So now, being that you don't have really nothing to do with the body or in control of it, it's going to do that automatically. The body was designed with different levels to it. So as you mature or have experiences, certain levels of it unlock. The way it is, it's inside of you compressed. And as you ascend and come and know more about yourself, you compress it even more. The tighter you compress it, the more light it's going to emit. With these light frequencies, it connects neurons in your brain. It activates, let's say we're going to name it the ancestral energy. Now, this soul that has got 7 levels to each part to it, it's 2 compartments to the soul. It has ways that it vibrates so fast, it don't really intermingle with the human body. The animal body now, it could override it. But for you to override the animal body, you will have to change certain things you was doing, because you have to allow the higher soul now to overshadow you. It's not going to come in your body because your body is kind of resonating too slow for it to come in there. But you can cleanse it in a way that the soul, the animal soul now, is purified and ready to be consumed by the other soul. Now each one of them keep on burning themselves into the other soul to create a new soul. It's only 7 levels to it. That's your 7th heaven, with the 7th being the only one that connects to the spirit. Now the spirit got another 14 chambers or levels to it, and that 7th one, the top one, is the only one that's going to be able to take you to the highest level of infinity. And this is in Egyptian funeral texts and all their books. This is what they're talking about when they try to explain the difference between a mortal and a god and a demigod. So what happens now, as you awaken, by 12 years old, you get your first soul. I think it's called the Seb. And that gives you just consciousness and the actual ability to procreate. Now you're like an individual god in yourself. And so you have to seek out the other 6 chambers, deal with ego, pride, your virtues and vices. There's different levels to it. But after you acquire them, you will have to return them, give them back. Meaning if you're, had fear all your life, or was, just defensive, you work out, eat healthy, all this stuff, you have to renounce all of these things, because the simple fact is you work out, you get big because you're scared. You have what's called opposition forces, attitudes, pride, because you don't want to release what's inside of you. You're holding on to it. So you got 7 virtues and vices that you have to return back to the 7 planets. These 7 planets gave it to you as like a governor to block off the super soul that's inside of you. Once you give back what you are by overcoming your lust, your desire for woman, your greed for money, your gluttony, all these things you have to put in check as different levels to your consciousness and your soul. it automatically now make you be able to give those back to the 9 planets or the zodiacs, and now you're prepared to ascend. Your vibration and the lower animals' vibration is cleansed, and now a new spirit comes on you, and that's the higher self being. But the higher self being, it got a few more levels to it that you have to interact with to get yourself to the soul, because none of them is connected. Even if you look at Egyptian drawings, you see one, the human body, the smallest, having the hands up to the sun, then another body that's a little bigger having the hands up to the sun, and the biggest one having the hands up to the sun. They're not all on top of each other saying that it's one body with a whole bunch of different compartments. It's telling you they're separate entities, and you have to connect to each one for you to be able to die and live. Death is a process that your body now goes back to the 4 elements, the earth. It's everything go back to the earth. In it, your soul continues the journey. If you didn't acquire a soul, you cease to exist. Now, you're going to cease to exist slowly because of the 7 levels of the soul. It's connected to the physical body. So as long as the physical body is deteriorating or going through its transformation, the soul is going to exist on many planes. You see, you have the 7 souls that you have is connected to light. Each one of them represent a different frequency of light. Now, in each different frequency of light, your soul, which is an invisible body, it interact with the other souls. So you might have an ex you went with or used to go out with, but now you and your ex broke up, but y'all still got a life together in a parallel universe because of that soul. Both of y'all souls live together someplace else and continues y'all life. And so each one part of you, that's like, say, your different thoughts. You have multiple thoughts. Your mind is like a multiple portal. And so in there, each of those thoughts is a different part of you that exists in a different realm, but they're stuck inside the physical body until the body releases itself. They can't really go back home unless you do it through meditation and astral projecting and so forth. But you yourself is a multi-dimensional being. That's why the Egyptians have the parallel universe in their drawing, meaning every level of the universe that you live in, there's a parallel to it, depending on your cause and effect of your actions, your karmas and everything. You create these things. And so sometimes you could be zoning out and you drift off, but you didn't really drift off. You just went to your other level because, you know, it's still conscious. You're conscious here and you're conscious in your other worlds too. So that's the whole process to getting the soul. You have to acquire it, and the soul have to cleanse you first. Once you're cleansed, this is through intuitional oneness with your ancestral self. They're going to give you intuitional things not to eat, things not to do, people to separate from. All this comes from your intuition. You'll feel it. Sometimes they make it feel kind of like very over zealous, over anxious about it, because the ancestors, first let me give you the first level of the soul, the one that give you light, which is called the Ba. The Ba is your breathing. You understand? Hold your breath and you're going to die. All right? You have to breathe. So that's the Ba. That's the body. That's what gives you life. But the Ba itself, what is the Ba? What is this that we're breathing? Well, what we're breathing is electricity. You see, without electricity, nothing in your body works. Your breath gives you electricity, life. Everything works in this world off of electronics, electricity. Because electricity is the soul of everything. You understand? It has a partner. Its partner is magnetics. Wherever you see electricity, magnetics is there too. Thus you have us. We work off of electromagnetism. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why it's as important to know your 2 counterparts. The first 2 is the soul of electricity and the soul of magnetism. Those are the 2. That's what make you work. But those is just the basics. You know, that's why the CIA could use mind control and control you, because they know how to manipulate the frequencies of electricity and the frequencies of magnetics, which is a subtle energy. If it's from 1 to 10, It probably only lasts between 1 or 1.7, and then you're out the field. You control the real world. But in that little 1 to 1.7, there's infinite possibilities. That's where the energy is. That's why you see I don't really do too much, but I'm doing a lot. So that you have to know how to harness the energy and use it. But it's a process that the government or whoever's in charge, you know, you could call it whatever you want, white supremacy, the Illuminati, the cabal, it's all good. But what are they doing is they harness this energy and make sure you don't acquire your soul, you know, through religion telling you just be good and God is going to take care of you. Nah, our Egyptians, even the people from a medieval time, they knew you had to go through what's called alchemy. The alchemy process is the process of turning lead to gold, the animal lower self to the higher self, and you had to go through a process. It's also called the coming into day ritual for the Egyptians. If you don't do that, you're going to die as a mortal. That's what a mortal is. A mortal cease to exist. A god, they come on to you, the other gods, that is, these is what's in the air, the elements, the 4 elements, fire, earth, air, water, salamander, all of them. It's a whole bunch of them, succubus, incubus, many of them that been here long before us, that made it together, made it with albinos, created all these different races. That's how everything came about. That's why these books are so important and religion is so important. Religion been here from cavemen. Cavemen had religion, so nobody invented it. It came with the human body. It came with the soul, because that's where we came from, and we got a connection to it, so we always remembered it. So you can't say nobody invented it. It was in Babylon. It was in Chaldean. It was in Persia. It was in Egypt. When the Europeans came, they had their own version of it because they decided to conquer the world and take a whole big Western America and put everybody into a big prison called Pelon. That's what America is. It's just a big prison. You're not free in there. You don't even know what's going on. Kingship rule. Y'all decide y'all want a leader and a king. So that's who's going to rule y'all and tell y'all what to do, what to watch. Take your kids, kidnap them, rape them, beat y'all. You know, the story of Solomon is real. You know, you wanted a king, you got to take what comes along with it. Free yourself if you don't want that. Back to the soul thing now. So we're being denied the access and right of passage to the underworld or the other world because we don't know nothing about the soul. They don't teach you it. They don't tell you what you got to do. But if you go read old alchemy books, you will find out that there is a process to do to connect your soul. And the soul cannot come into a body that is resonating at a lower frequency because your soul is with you. It's around you. It's all over the place. And when it connects with you or whatever, it resonates so fast that you yourself have to be prepared, cleansed. That's why they say that saying in the Bible or whatever, you can't put old wine in new wine. I mean, what is it? Old wine in the new wineskin? Something like that or whatever. Yeah, I'm not getting it straight right now. But yeah, you know, that's what it means. You can't have your old self or whatever with your new self. You can't bring your old chapter of your life into the new chapter. If you're going to delete everything, everybody. You know why? Because the first thing they're going to tell you is, oh, you changed. You're not the same person. Because that's what the saying say. A prophet cannot be honored in his hometown. Our peoples don't give a fuck about us. They're not going to respect us. If you grew up now and you're a better person, you changed, whatever it was you don't do no more, you want a fresh start. Start a new chapter, a new everything. And live by these new rules that you done learned. That's what make you the philosopher, gathering your philosopher's stone, building your temple now, because you learned from your wrongs and rights, and you're gonna pick the stones that's proper for you. You understand? And so people don't really care about all that, what I'm talking about. All they care is about you hanging out and what's going on with you, why you changing, because now you're not agreeing with them, you don't see them the same, so they don't really care for you. Everybody in the world work off of, as long as you agree with their concept, their ideology or belief system, they're your friend. If not, they're going to depart from you. Family don't matter. That's just how it is. You know, that's why we got to ascend, because that's not our purpose. Everybody's an individual. There's nobody that's supposed to have the same thing another person have in thoughts or in features or in clothing. You know, you look at our clothes. Everybody got on a fitted hat and the same jerseys and everything. Y'all are so, like, you don't see how you're a carbon copy, you're a barcode. You understand? There's no originality to you. And so with no originality to you, you got a psychological effect that took over your brain of the leader, masters, or whatever. All urban communities share the same clothes. All y'all got is uniforms. Those is not clothes. Everybody wear uniform to tell you where you from. This is your area where you live. Same thing, middle class people got the same uniform, shopping in the malls and Belks and all them places. It's the same. Rich people too, uniforms. It's a prison. The whole thing is a prison set with different uniforms that classify who you are and where you come from. You have to separate yourself from all that and classify your own self. Be original, unique. Let your intuition lead you. Now, after you get your soul, which is a hard process, it's nothing to play with. You're going to see things. They're going to come and literally knit light to you. You're going to see them and work with them. They're going to change you. This is what a lot of these saints and all these people from back in the days was praising about when they got into all this God shit and was really good.